What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Backup Fantasy Sports. It is Wednesday, August 24th. My name is Ewan, and today I will be talking about Fantasy Premier League with a Game Week 4 preview. So what will we be talking about today? I'm going to go over my Game Week 3 team, which was a disaster. Then we're going to look at the fixtures for this upcoming weekend, looking at the season fixture ticker for some difficulty, trying to find some teams with some easy fixtures and some tough fixtures coming up. Then I'm going to go over a couple of Game Week 4 storylines, talk about what transfers I'm going to make this weekend, captaincy debates, and then I will get out of your ears. So, Game Week 3 was great for some, disastrous for others, and I fall into the latter camp there. 38 points for the lethal weapons. Not great, Bob. Overall rank down to 4.1 million. Try not to overreact too much. The rank swings are huge right now. I started at 3.9 million, then last week I went up to 2.1. Now I'm back to 4.1. I'm trusting the process. The good times are coming. Good vibes only for the squad, but it was not very pretty as I got 3 combined points from Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, João Cancelo, Andy Robertson, and Nico Williams. I got goals from Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland, so the 2 premiums paying dividends, with Salah being my captain, and that last last 10-minute goal against United really saved me from an embarrassing game week. Gabriel Jesus and Gabriel Martinelli for Arsenal got me assists. Jesus could have had more, but a disallowed goal, a yellow card kind of hampered his total there. Danny Ward let in another 2 goals in his final appearance for the squad. And just to cap it all off, on my bench, I had Andreas Pereira with 8 points and Leon Bailey with 5. I stuck with Bailey. I rolled the transfer. I stayed disciplined, like I said in last week's podcast. So I have 2 free transfers for this week. And I did not believe in... I went with Nico Williams on the road at Goodison, and that was just very close to a great day. He picked up a yellow card, but the clean sheet was stolen at the last minute there in Goodison Park. So the fixtures coming up. So we've got a quick turnaround this week. Game Week 4 starts on Saturday, ends on Sunday, and then Game Week 5 starts on Tuesday. So I will be doing a Game Week 5 preview podcast on Monday. I'll be a little bit delirious as I have a fantasy football draft in the middle of the night before that podcast, but it will get done. It will be out and about on Monday morning. But back to Game Week 4. On Saturday, we've got Southampton and Man United kicking us off with the early game. And then in the afternoon slate, we've got Brentford, Everton, Brighton, Leeds, Chelsea, Leicester, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Man City, Crystal Palace, before Arsenal and Fulham play in the late game on Saturday night. Then on Sunday, we've got Villa, West Ham, Wolves, Newcastle, and Nottingham Forest welcome Tottenham. So all the stats from this podcast come from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. I signed up, checking it daily. Great articles, great stats. Just for the fixture ticker and the stats alone, it's well worth it. But with everyone talking in there, there's a ton of message boards and advice going around the community over there. It is well worth the value. I think it's already been paid off. So looking at the fixture ticker over the next 5 game weeks, we've got the 5 easiest schedules and the 5 hardest schedules. So starting with easiest schedules, we've got Brighton at the top here. They've got Leeds at home, Fulham on the road, Leicester at home, Bournemouth on the road, and then Crystal Palace at home. That is lovely. At Brentford up next with Everton, Crystal Palace, Leeds, Southampton, and then Arsenal. Nothing to shy away from there. That Arsenal game is going to have will be played at home, so they will have the advantage there. Arsenal come up next just to keep piling on the good times for all the managers who are tripled up or at least doubled up on Arsenal. I think you have to be at this point. They've got Fulham and Villa at home in the next two games, and then a road trip to Old Trafford for the slightly rejuvenated Man United, and then they welcome Everton before going to Brentford in 5 game weeks from now. Leeds are up next with Brighton, Everton, Brentford, Forest, and Man United. A lot of these teams are playing each other, so that's going to be interesting for the fixture ticker. And then 5th is Man City, who have Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, Tottenham Hotspurs, and Wolves in their next 5. City 3-3 draw with Newcastle resulted in a lot of big at the back strategies going awry this weekend, but I think more often than not they will be keeping clean sheets, and I don't think I'd like to see the odds on them conceding 3 goals in one game for the rest of the season. But over to the hardest scheduled teams coming up, starting with the toughest next 5 is Aston Villa. So time to abandon ship on all of their assets if possible. I don't think it's going to be in the cards for me with Leon Bailey. I don't mind him on the bench with Nico Williams and Pereira being okay. I do think Bailey played really well in game week 3, and he did not start last night's League Cup game. So was that him resting, or is he back out of the 11? We'll have to wait for the press conferences later this week to see what Steven Gerrard says, but maybe we can't trust him because he said he was playing great and then he benched him, and it's very confusing with Stevie G right now in the press conferences. Next up on the Villa, they have West Ham, Arsenal, Man City, Leicester, and Southampton. Next up is Fulham, who have Arsenal on the road, Brighton at home. Then they play Spurs on the road, Chelsea at home, and Forest on the road. So that's tough. They're even playing even Forest on the road. That's not going to be the easiest game in the world. Forest, easy team, but road games are always a little bit tougher. Next up is Wolves, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Southampton, Liverpool, and Man City there. So that's actually pretty tough. Newcastle looking really good. They gave up 3 goals, but that's the only 3 goals they've given up so far in the 2022-2023 season. So that could be tough, and Wolves are finding it very hard to score goals right now. The lowest scoring team since the start of last year, I believe, that are still playing Premier League football. So that's not good for the Pedro Neto owners right at this minute. Next up is Crystal Palace, who have Man City this weekend, then Brentford, Newcastle, Man United, and then Brighton. And finally, we have Leicester, who have let in 2 goals every single game. You know that well if you're a Danny Ward owner. They have Chelsea, United, Brighton, Villa, and Spurs. So just going over those one more time. Easiest schedules are Brighton, Brentford, Arsenal, Leeds, and Man City. Hardest schedules are Villa, Fulham, Wolves, Crystal Palace, and Leicester for the next 5 game weeks, which is going to coincide right where we all play our wild cards, probably, because that's when the international break comes along. So over to the storylines. Today's podcast will probably be a little bit shorter, just with this game week and the next game week, such a quick turnaround. There'll be a lot of news coming out with the press conferences at the end of this week, and then we will get the information of all the games, and then it'll just be right into game week 5. So it'll be pretty frantic pace here in the FPL world. So moving over to the storylines here. First up is Liverpool. Right off the top, I will say Man United deserved to win that game. They came out, they punched Liverpool right in the mouth. They did exactly what you need to do when your back is against a wall. Klopp was pretty much right. He's like, I'd much rather Man United have won 4-0 than lost 4-0. And it proved to be right. Liverpool were not ready for that game, and they are not a defense I want to invest in at the moment. Most of us started with the Liverpool triple up with a Salah, Trent, and then either Robbo or Diaz. Some went to Nunez, but Salah and Trent were in most of our lineups to begin the year. The attack looks okay. Struggling right now without Jota and Thiago kind of orchestrate. Like, Jota is not the be all end all of the attack, but without him, things just aren't flowing as well right now. So yeah, Liverpool is suffering from a lot of injuries right now. Diogo Jota, Thiago's out, Konate, Matip, they are all starting 11, or Jota maybe the 12th man, and missing 4 of those guys is really affecting this team a lot more than people would have thought. I think it was as on FPL Black Box last week was he did some research about how Liverpool did without Thiago on the field, and I think it was something like they kept a clean sheet in like 80% of their games or something when he was playing or played more than 60 minutes, and then their clean sheet rate was less than half when he did not start or did not play 60 minutes. So he is instrumental in that team. The Nunez suspension is just kind of compounding the hurt for the Reds right now. Fabinho and Firmino they're fit, but they're fighting to stay fit. It feels like they are always like Fabinho didn't start on Monday night, and it resulted in James Milner and Jordan Henderson. They shouldn't be starting against Manchester United, either one of them separately, and for both of them to be starting in the 11 is appalling, and it's very, very bad news if you are a Liverpool fan. I was a little bit hot on Monday night. I don't think I think the team can still compete with like the top of the league, but I don't know if these injuries don't get back quick. Need a couple more signings, hopefully, before the transfer window ends. But this is a top 4 team. This is not a champion team at the moment. It's not a fire sale in FPL. I don't think I would be taking hits to get Mohamed Salah or Trent Alexander-Arnold out of my team. That just sounds ludicrous when you say it out loud. But I definitely don't think the triple up is necessary on the Anfield squad right now. And I'm not even sure it's optimal with the way the defense is just getting sliced and diced right now. Van Dijk's not really playing that well. Him and Joe Gomez and Nat Phillips, that is just not a good partnership. He needs one of Konate or Matip back. Gomez and Phillips are just not up to snuff if they want to be competing for a Premier League title this season. So one of those two, Konate and Matip, have to get healthy if the Reds are going to keep some clean sheets. I've transferred out Andy Robertson. He was in my team. I don't think the clean sheets are coming right now, while Thiago, Matip, and Konate are out. It's not feeling great. The attack, there's something slightly off about Liverpool right now. And with Robertson's ownership less than 10%, I felt like he was the one I could take out and not suffer too much if he bounces back this week against Bournemouth. Whereas with Salah and Trent, it's like if you go against them, you're just kind of asking for trouble. And those guys put up 200-point seasons left and right, so you don't really want to bet against them all that much. I just think the attacking returns need to come for Trent and Robbo because they are priced too high to be giving us 1-pointers, and there's so many exciting options in the midfield, even up front right now, and cheaper at the back, that those funds can be spread out more evenly and make your team more well-rounded. So for Liverpool, I'm in a buy, sell, hold situation. I would sell some of them. If you don't have Robbo and you had Diaz instead, I'd probably keep the triple up because Diaz is the one player that's actually been impressive every single game this season. and he's 8 million. So I'd keep him, but if you have Robertson, I definitely think you can move away from the Scottish left back. Next storyline up is not the £8 million midfielder, it's the £7 million midfielder. It's been a resurgent of the middle class for the midfield so far this year. Several options jumping off the page with Leeds looking good, Newcastle looked solid, Martinelli has been outstanding in 3 game weeks. So where are we in? I just went through like kind of some of the stats. I filtered it down on Fantasy Football Scout. So right now just go through each of these stats, kind of like a top 5, and then rank which ones I prefer moving forward. Assists, we got Jack Harrison with 3 from Leeds. Alan St. Maximin had 3 FPL assists this weekend against against Man City. And then we've got Bernardo Silva, James Ward-Prowse, Martinelli, Rodrigo, Pascal Gross, Eze from Crystal Palace, Rodri, Hwang from Wolves, Jesse Lingard, and Joelinton with 1. As for goals, the main man right now is Rodrigo from Leeds with 4, leads the Premier League with 4 goals. Don't think any of us would have been saying that before the season started. Wilfried Zaha has 3, Martinelli, Gross, and Odegaard with 2. Martin Odegaard had both of his this weekend as Arsenal dismantled Bournemouth and went top of the league. And then 15 other guys in the 7 million price bracket have 1 goal. For those of you nitpicking right now, yes, Wilfried Zaha has gone up to 7.1 million, but I still think he belongs in this category with the 7 million midfielders. Total attacking returns, we've got Rodrigo with 5, Harrison with 4, Gross, Zaha, Martinelli, and St. Maximin with 3, and James Ward-Prowse, Martin Odegaard, and Bernardo Silva with 2. FPL points, Rodrigo, 35 points through 3 weeks, not too shabby. Harrison and Pascal Gross with 24, Martinelli with 22, Zaha and Odegaard with 21, and then JWP and St. Maximin with 18 each. That's the surface numbers. As for non-penalty expected goal involvement here, we've got Rodrigo with 2.26, Gross with 2.19, Zaha with 1.92, and then Buendia, Almiron, and ASM and Rashford all come in around the 1.5 mark. So how would I rank these guys? Well, there's nowhere else to start but with Gabriel Martinelli at 6.4 million. Feels like a cheat code right now. With Bukayo Saka being priced at 8 million to start the year, there was a lot of debate. Which one do you go with? But the debate is over. It looks like Martinelli has locked up that left wing role. With the quick turnaround in game week 4 and 5, it wouldn't be surprising if Martinelli does take a seat either on Saturday or Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure when Arsenal are playing in game week 5, but they with Emile Smith-Rowe, they've got Vieira getting healthy, Nketiah can come off the bench. I would expect some rotation from the Gunners, but right now at 6.4 million, Martinelli is almost a must-have in the game because he is just coming through every week for us. Next up is Wilfried Zaha at 7.1 million. Palace's fixtures get better after this game week. They play City on Saturday. They are kind of City's bogey team, and Zaha is just returning each and every week, so it'd be tough to bet against him. But after this City game, they get Brentford at home, Newcastle on the road, United at home, and then Brighton on the road. Not the easiest fixtures, but certainly easier than a away game at the Etihad. Next up in the rankings where I would have them is Rodrigo from Leeds. I think this is a now or never situation if you want to get on the Rodrigo bandwagon, because the next 4, we've got Brighton, Everton, Brentford, and Forest. So Very exciting fixtures. The Everton and the Forest ones are at home. So I guess if you want to avoid this, playing at the Amex, Brighton look really solid this year, and just hop on for the Everton, Brentford, Forest trio. And then you can kind of punt him away or get him out of there on your wild card if you would like. I think he's going to go up in price again tonight. He's been rising ever since his majestic performance against Chelsea on Sunday. And it's kind of a... I have 2 free transfers. I've actually used them already. I did not use one of them to bring in Rodrigo, but it is a little tempting to get him in on a hit. But to be determined later this week, unfortunately. Pascal Gross comes up next. He's nailed in that Brighton team. They look fantastic. Top of the fixture ticker for the next 5, like I said earlier. Leeds, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, Crystal Palace. None of those defenses really scare you at all. Leeds look a lot more solid than they did last year, but it's nothing. We'll see how that goes moving forward. And then finally would be Alan St. Maximin for me. He had a great game against Man City. The only thing that worries me about him is the Newcastle triple up. I don't think we can't triple up on Newcastle assets, and I really like Nick Pope in goal. I really like Kieran Trippier at the back. Callum Wilson looks good. You got Bruno Guimaraes there too. Joe Linton had a pretty good game against Man City. There's lots of options at Newcastle, so is ASM worth one of those spots? 6.4 is kind of with Martinelli at 6.4, why would you spend that on St. Maximin instead of Martinelli? That's tough, unless you're just going with a 3 premium thing and you don't have an £8 million spot in the midfield. So that's kind of where I would be with the 7 million midfielder. I've talked about the £8 million midfielder a lot already this year, but it's really been this 7 to 6 range has been tremendous value. Everyone that went with Martinelli is having a great time right now, but it could be worth a look at Zaha and Rodrigo for sure. Right now I have 1 million in the bank with my transfers. I could get to Pascal Gross, but we'll see. It is tempting, but it's we'll see how that goes. So, is it time to play the wild card? I'm trying to hold off until we see a couple of rounds of this Champions League, Premier League smorgasbord fixture schedule, because they are playing starting this week. The big 6 teams are playing they're playing a midweek game every week up until the World Cup, I believe. With Champions League, Premier League, they got to smash this all in, and a giant World Cup in the middle of the season. The fixture congestion is going to be absurd. So I will admit that I considered it after this dismal game week. It looked terrible. I was not very impressed with the team. The Liverpool game had me on DEFCON 2. Not feeling great about the FPL team at all, but I woke up on Tuesday morning, downloaded the Athletic Fantasy Premier League podcast with FPL General. He kind of talked me off the ledge a little bit. Felt a lot better after listening to that. It's only game week 4. We've had 3 game weeks of data, 270 minutes. It's not time to jump off. And honestly, I'm not even sure where I would go. I think if you were going to do the early wild card, you maybe would have done it already. But now with the midweek games and the Champions League right on the horizon, I really do want to get more data and see how these squad rotations play out and who's going to be nailed. It might be time to look at players outside the big 6, kind of like in that £7 million midfielder range that I was talking about. Zaha, Rodrigo, Pascal Gross, they're playing Premier League football, and that is it. So I'm going to hold off on the wild card for a couple more game weeks at least. Game week 6 is maybe the earliest I can see myself playing it after these next 2 game weeks. See where like the Arsenal rotation is at, see where Zinchenko's playing, seeing if Mason Mount stays nailed despite midweek games. There's a lot to consider. So no wild card for me. I totally understand if people want to. It was a bloodbath of a game week. If you want to get out of your big at the back or your Salah and Haaland and you just don't have the transfers right now, go for it. But for me, it's only game week 4. I'm trying to take a long-term approach. I know we can be more aggressive this season with the wild cards and the unlimited transfers at the World Cup, but there is still some value in patience for me. Moving over to captaincy now. I think there are kind of 3 options, but with 5 players. So you got Salah at home against Bournemouth. That's going to be a no-brainer. That's going to be the most popular one, even despite Liverpool's struggles to start the year. I think you can go with Haaland or KDB versus Crystal Palace at home. Those 2 are still hooking up. I don't think Haaland's going to get rested. I do believe Man City play a friendly against Barcelona tonight on Wednesday. Yeah, it looks like it is tonight. It has not happened yet, so I'm not expecting Haaland to be risked in that weird midweek friendly, and he should be good to go on Saturday. Although Pep did come out and say that he's not going to be playing 3 games a week when it comes around. So expect Haaland to be rested eventually. And then the other 2 options here from the 3 games is the Gabriels, Jesus and Martinelli against Fulham. Fulham have looked pretty leaky at the back, and Arsenal have looked electric in attack. So it feels like a great pairing, and it would make a nice differential captaincy if you are looking to jumpstart your team. As for my squad with my transfer plans, I've already made my 2 free transfers. I've gone Andy Robertson to Ivan Perisic. I did it on Monday night. I caught the price rise. I saw that Perisic was going to rise up. Robertson had already dropped, so I was just like, let's make this back up. So caught the price rise for Perisic on that night. He looked so good against Wolves in that second half. I'm pretty scared about the Liverpool defense. Just talked about that quite a bit in the episode. And I think Perisic is going to start 2 of these next 3 games, and he could easily outscore Robertson and Trent if he starts 2 of 3 with the way that he looks and with how Liverpool look at the back. I think Perisic can outscore both of them if he only plays 2 of the next 3 games. And then my other transfer was Iverson from Leicester to Robert Sanchez. I kept Danny Ward on the bench, still starting for Leicester, so there's that. But wanted to get Robert Sanchez in. Tired of getting the 1-pointers. I think it's making a big difference in my team right now. With it being such an early season, I think I'm only 20 points off the top 100K or whatever that is, and not so. Just the Leicester experiment was a failure. Brighton have fantastic fixtures coming up. Talked about it multiple times here. I had Sanchez all last season. He did me very well. Should never left him. Please take me back, Sanchez. I hope that you return my faith with some clean sheets for the upcoming game week. So that was my 2 free transfers. I'm still open to taking a hit. Mount does need to leave the team, but the surgery, I needed to get rid of Robertson. I'm a Liverpool fan watching a Liverpool game, just compounding the heartache every time they let in a goal. It was too much to handle. And the goalkeeper situation was disastrous. Mount is next on my wish list to get out of my team, but had other things to take care of. May leave it until game week 6, and like I might just skip over game week 5 in the transfer department and just have 2 free transfers for game week 6 as well. I am tempted by the Salah to KDB move, but with the upcoming Champions League and Premier League schedules on the horizon, I think Salah is going to be an expected minutes monster. He's going to be on the field all the time. I could see the Pep roulette happening, so I probably won't do it. I am tempted. Liverpool are extremely frustrating to watch right now, but a home game with Bournemouth should ease all the concerns. If not, it's moving from DEFCON 2 to DEFCON 1. In the backup fantasy sports household, I will be not a fun person to be around if that Liverpool game goes the wrong way. So future apologies to my wife. And that's pretty much it for my transfer plans. I don't think I'm going to take the hit. Trying to avoid hits this year. It's so tempting. You just think it's 4 points, but I don't want to keep digging myself a hole to try and get out of. Patience is key. Try to trust the process. I think I'm doing the right thing by minimizing the Liverpool damage right now, getting a high upside player in Perisic, shoring up the defense, and then we will take it from there in game week 5 or game week 6. So that's it. That's all game week 4 preview. You can follow me on Twitter at UN or you out. That's EUAN or you out. The Rotoballer staff roundtable where I write, rotoballer.com, that's going to be published tomorrow morning. We're doing kind of an extended game week preview for 4 and 5 because of the quick turnaround. The article wouldn't be able to get out in time for game week 5. So this week's article is going to be double whammy for 4 and 5. You can like and subscribe to the podcast, Backup Fantasy Sports, on Google, Spotify, Apple, Overcast, all those fun spots. The Game Week 4 deadline is Saturday, August 27th at 6 a.m. Eastern US time, 11 a.m. UK, and 12 p.m. midday Germany for me. And I hope this game week goes a lot better for myself and for anyone else that is in the similar boat of a disastrous game week 3. I hope game week 4 is filled with points and goals and clean sheets for all of us around. So once again, thanks for listening, and I will talk to you next time.